Hello, welcome back to the K-League United podcast. Matthew Binns here, and I'm joined by Paul Neat. Hello, Paul.
Hello there, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year indeed. It's been a while since we last did one of these. I also think, the last one we did of these actually didn't make it to air.
No, technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like that long ago. I suppose the season starting a couple of weeks earlier this season means that you and I are back in pre-season and not the
Yeah.
warm weather training that Ryan is doing in Bangkok and the rest of the K-League team seemingly are over in Thailand and wherever. We're stuck in Seoul in what is minus
Oh,
something.
yeah. Lovely minus 11, I think, this evening, keeping things nice and chilly. A bit of snow as well. So, yeah, lovely weather up in Seoul. Far cry from what I was enjoying over New Year. But how about yourself, Paul? What you been up to in the last couple of weeks?
I've been working, to be honest with you. I've not really had a lot of time off. I've been covering the Mitsubishi Electric Cup
Hmm.
remotely, doing match reports for that. I did 12 games, a lot of goals, a lot of goals. I think it worked out at about 3.5 goals a game,
Hmm.
helped by a 10-0. The first game I did, bear in mind that I'm having to get used to like a new system to upload the articles and stuff and find the images and all that kind of stuff, resize the images because the sort of back office thing is a bit fiddly. And 10-0, Thailand beat Timor Leste 10-0. It was welcome to the Mitsubishi Electric Cup. But yeah, fantastic. So a 10-0, and I had 1-0 and a couple of 1-0s, but most of the games had lots of goals. So yeah, it's been good. I really enjoyed also actually seeing players that Ryan had mentioned. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yes, Ryan's talked about Min Kwang Hai before, for example. It's like that's what he looks like. That's what he does. He is good actually. Ryan was right all along.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
He may
it's,
have he
it's
might have been onto something all this
he
time.
might have been onto something.
It's
He
only
might have been
taken
onto
us,
something.
7 seasons to figure it
Yeah,
out. But yeah,
yeah.
well, actually, we've just done a podcast on the Mitsubishi Electric Cup, Vietnam winning it in the end. Relevance to K League? Well, Kim Sang-shik was at the helm, but you can hear more of that from Ryan and myself in the episode that came out on Monday. But as for us, Paul, well, there are a lot of things going on these shores. K League, the transfer window is open, and well, clubs aren't messing about. There's been quite a few, and I think we should probably just go straight to where we are here in Seoul because they've had a few big names, or well,
They
certainly
have.
names join them.
They have. I mean, this is a transfer window that I think is pivotal for a lot of clubs.
Hmm.
A lot of clubs are having to either rebuild, we'll get to Ulsan a bit later. They're having to sort of shift out some of the older players, bring in new ones. Seoul having to try and build on what they did last year. And I think the theme for FC Seoul is win now. They've obviously brought in the likes of Min and
Yes.
Kim Jin-su, both 32 years of age, both obviously good players. Min was one of those players for Jeonbuk the last couple of seasons that great impact off the bench, including in that the second leg of the playoff final that you were at, Matthew, of course. So he scored
Yes.
that goal that kind of basically sealed it completely, didn't it? Sealed safety. I think he'll start more for FC Seoul, but obviously he's shown that he's still got it. Kind of interesting that he decided to leave Jeonbuk. Kim Jin-soo, obviously, as we know, they've obviously had to move elsewhere because Kang Sang-woo only signed a 1 year deal. They wanted to get
Hmm.
him tied down to a longer deal. He was prioritizing a move overseas. And then Seoul, from what I've read, gave him a deadline, and then it got past that point, and they thought, well, we have to look elsewhere. Kim Jin-soo is a couple of years older than Kang Sang-woo, and obviously they'll probably get 2 years out of him at best,
Hmm.
but he'd be good for the short term. Another name, Jong Sung-won, obviously had a very good season with Suwon FC last year. Really stepped up with goals and assists once Lee Sung-hoo had left and gone to Jeonbuk. So those three in particular are ones that I'm really looking forward to see how they get settled in. Lee Han-do, obviously, who you met and interviewed a couple.
Yes.
What season was that? Last season or the season before?
It all fades into one really at this
Yeah,
point. I think it was 2022 actually, so it may have been a couple
maybe,
of
yeah.
seasons ago at this point.
So they've signed him as a sort of, I'm guessing, a rotation option at centre back. So, yeah, obviously they've had to let a few players go, including Iljutcenko. So I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
see more business in terms of they still need a striker. The rumor was that they wanted to try and sign Zeka, formerly of Daegu and Pohang, of course, currently with Shandong Taishan. And I think the situation with Shandong is there was some talk about how all their foreign players might be up for sale with sort of, let's just say, irregularities in the Chinese Super League. So their business has been good so far, but certainly not finished.
Yeah, some really big names there. I'm not going to go into all of them because we're going to aim to keep this quite brief. There's lots, all of them are on our website at the moment, full in-depth articles. But the Kim Jin-su one, obviously with the Jeonbuk bias, I think that's one I'm actually honing in on. But also, I just think that is quite a big transfer. I think Kim Jin-su had perhaps, I wouldn't say outstayed his welcome at Jeonbuk because he's very much loved, very much adored by the fans. But there was that issue in the middle of the season where he was the captaincy was taken from him. He was also having disciplinary issues on the pitch. He was struggling off the pitch as well. I think a new surroundings for him will probably get the best out of him. I don't think there was much of a future left for him at Jeonbuk, which is unfortunate. Because I really like Kim Jin-su. I hope he does well, but I don't really want him to do well at Seoul, because I think that's probably the final betrayal. No, the final
ultimate housery, isn't it?
That's the word.
Mr.
That's
Housery
the word
himself.
I'm looking for. Yeah, he's obviously a master of the dark arts, a master of breaking our hearts now though at Jeonbuk. But yeah, he's moved to FC Seoul, and well, I'm sure they might get the best out of him. Like you said, 32, did you say 32 years of age now?
He's 32, yeah.
Yeah, there's still quite a bit of life left in him. I think get a few more years out of him while they bring in a more a more preferred left back. But yeah, so a couple of outbounds at Jeonbuk, but there's been a couple of inbounds over at North Jolla as well. The biggest one is the return of goalkeeper Song Bom-kun. He's moved to the J League a couple of years ago for Shannon Belair, and he's come back after 2 years. Contract has not been re-signed. He wasn't really getting the number of starts he wanted. Still got 20 starts this season, but 16 on the bench as well. So you think perhaps he wasn't really in their longer-term plans. Also taking up one of those foreign spots as well, which is never good when you're not getting enough starts and you're part of a quota. But he obviously very, very good goalkeeper during his time at Jeonbuk, has won plenty of trophies. He remembers what it's like to win in Jeonju, which is fleeting these days with some of those members of that squad. So, and also he's got something to prove. He's lost his place. He was on the fringes of the national team setup. He's kind of lost those. Lost that recently. He's actually lost it to his Jeonbuk teammate Kim Jun-hong because. Well, Kim Jun-hong was better, but why is he going to where Kim Jun-hong is? Kim Jun-hong is actually possibly going to the MLS. It's still rumoured very much at this stage. I don't know whether the deal is gone through, or whatever, but Song Bom-kun coming over does seem to kind of indicate that one might be a bit of a done deal. But the bigger news, I guess, for Jeonbuk, when we last spoke, it was still Kim Do-hyun at the helm, but at the helm he is no more, and they've brought in Gus Poyet of Sunderland fame, Paul, and I'm sure you've got plenty of questions to be asking him.
I have. First of all, I still want to know about his team selection for that FA Cup tie against Hull. I just, because that season Sunderland got to the League Cup final and were ahead actually against Man City, as you may recall. Yeah. Fabio Barini put Sunderland ahead, and it was kind of felt like the FA Cup was another chance to reach a cup final for Sunderland. And then he rotated the team. It was bizarre. And then obviously they lost 2-0, I think it was, to Hull. So that's my first question to
first one in the mix zone.
to Gus Poyet. Yeah, I'll ask you about team selection, Gus. Not today. Let's wind back 11 years and 12
one
years.
More time.
2013 it was, I think, or 2014, 11 years. So yeah, because Key was in that team.
He was
the Sunderland team. So apparently, if you want to go and watch his first press conference, Gus Poyet, it's on YouTube, on Jeonbuk's YouTube. He mentions that he did speak to Ki Sung-young about the K-League and about restoring some pride again in the club, Matthew. So hopefully for you, that's what he does. What are your thoughts on the appointment? Because his record isn't... it's not even as good as Dan Petrescu's, really, is it, as a manager?
Yeah, it's patchy, I think is the phrase. But also... You can't kind of deny his record as a player. I think it might be one of those where the name will carry it. The name will probably get the respect the dressing room, respect of the dressing room rather. So there is that, and I think he does want to play a bit more expansive. When Petrescu came in, was very, very, very pragmatic in that sense. But there is that lingering feeling, is it another Petrescu? Because, in all respect to Petrescu, he just wasn't the right fit. But the way that transpired, obviously, Jeonbuk have Di Matteo as a technical advisor, and you think, is there links there? Is this all former Chelsea players? And so, yeah, I'm a bit on edge about it. Trepidation is really the key here. But, I mean, the difference is the difference to Petrescu is Petrescu came in midway through the year. Gus Poyet is going to have a full pre-season to get a squad together. And he has got talented players. It's not like he's lacking in that department. There is the talent there to kind of play the way he will hope to play. So it's kind of a wait and see. Like I wrote Jose Moraes off, and right now Jose Moraes.
You had the players though. I think Moraes had a better squad than what Gus Poyet has got.
Yeah.
This Jeonbuk squad does need a clear out, and obviously they have addressed certain issues, like centre back Kim Yong-bin, of course, coming in from Gangwon. A bit of an interesting signing, that one. Obviously, an experienced defender, trying to get a bit of solidity at the back. But I just think this team, looking at the confirmed transfers in now, there's a lot of work to be done, I think, on this Jeonbuk squad to make me feel like Gus Poyet could do well with them. But again, we just don't know. He might come in and be a Moraes, or he might come in and be a Petrescu. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it really is a bit of a mystery box at this moment. I think we have to kind of see what transfers Jeonbuk make as well, and because they like you said, they haven't really brought anyone in. They've only they brought in someone and defender Kim Yong-bin. So it's kind of like we need to see more of what he's trying to do, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll see. That is a question mark hanging over Jeonbuk. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say come the season preview when we've had a time to look at friendlies, time to get a bit more of an idea of what he's trying to do. But trepidation is the feeling, really, when it comes to Jeonbuk. But we are going to touch on a couple of other signings as well. Well, let's go over to your club, Paul. Daejeon, they've perhaps made one of the signings of the window so far.
Yes, Joo Min-kyu is, I suppose, sitting in a similar vein to FC Seoul in their win now kind of ethos, if you could call it that, for the transfer policy. Daejeon doing similar things. Joo Min-kyu, 34 years of age, will come in because they basically wanted another striker, a number 9 type, someone who they can rely on, who obviously knows the league, so basically a domestic player who they can rely on, because Gutek, Władysław Kutkowskis, he's had issues with injuries. He's had 2 big injuries since he joined 18 months ago. Still only scored 2 goals for the club. Hasn't really played that many times. So and obviously he's the Latvia international, and he's had to leave the country and go back. And I think on both occasions where he got injured, it was after he came back from international duty, and he was put straight in the team, and that's what really led to his injuries. So Joo Min-kyu obviously is an international. I'm guessing he will be in the squad when South Korea do have their next games in March, and both are away, I think. But might not be as sort of a big of a risk, because then he's got two strikers. Or we've got Chon Song-hoon there as well. So they've got three now, proper out and out number nines. And Joo Min-kyu, you can probably say he's guaranteed goals. Didn't have a great season last year, but I think he's a really smart signing. He's kind of from the area. He's not from Daejeon, but he's from the outer province. And he said that he used to go and watch the club, not all the time, but now and again when he was younger. So that, really, really good signing. The business in general has been good. Obviously, they signed Victor Bobson on a permanent deal. That was the first deal they did towards the end of last year. Then they got Park Yu-hyun, who's from Dynamo Dresden in Germany. Now, the link there is obviously he was part of the under-23 squad that won the Asian Games under Hwang in 2023. So they've got him. Ha Chang-rae on a loan from Nagoya Grampus, 30-year-old experience, obviously knows the league. Im Jong-un, 34-year-old centre-back from Ulsan, and Jung Jae-hee from Pohang. So all experienced players that know the league, very much with the idea of players who can hit the ground running and are proven. So yeah, it's already been a good window. Joo Min-kyu, so far, the cherry on top of the cake for Daejeon, but I think they've obviously had to address defensive issues.
Yeah.
And really sort of, and now they've got a lot of centre backs. They've got a lot of centre backs, which made me wonder how they are going to shape up in the new season. Is it going to be a back three? Because they've got four really, plus they've got Aaron Calver, who's rumoured to be leaving. But if he doesn't go, they've still got 4 or 5, maybe even 6 centre backs there who are all going to be vying for a place in the team. So yeah. Win now, I think, is the theme for Daejeon.
Yeah. Or definitely not concede by the sounds of it. Just a wall of centre-backs. But Joo Min-kyu came from Ulsan. Who's replacing him? Because obviously Joo Min-kyu, one of Ulsan's leading strike forces, last year excluded. But who's coming in?
They've gone for Ho Yul of Gwangju fame, the occasional centre-back, but usually
I was going to
say,
forward.
Yeah. Every time we did commentary with the Gwangju game, it was, where's he going to play? Because, the Daejeon Dublin of the K-League. I wonder if he's musical for you. Anyway, but yeah, I think Ulsan, I think their theme is a generational shift, basically. They obviously get nicknamed as Retirement FC in K-League. They have one of the oldest average age squads in K-League. But they've begun to move some of these older players on. They brought in some good young players, not young, but 24, 25, like Park Min-so, the wing back from Seoul Eland, who did well for Seoul Eland last year in their sort of as they had a go, didn't they, to try and win promotion to K-League 1. They've gone for Yoon Jae-sok, who was nominated for the Young Player of the Year award in K-League 2 whilst with the Dragons. He's a 20-year-old forward. Yoon Jong-gyu, fullback from FC Seoul. Again, not young, but obviously they've had to sort of look at a more permanent right back, someone to sort of play week in, week out. They've also got Lee Jin-hyun, who's returning after a stint in Poland.
Yeah,
I can't pronounce the name of the team. I'm going to have a go because it's written here in Hangul and it'll sound it out. Peshucha Niepoe Miche.
Lovely stuff.
But yeah, so they've got him. He will make them tick. I was going to say play as a 6, an 8, or a 10. Fantastic signing. I think he's going to be really important for Ulsan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he fits into things, and I think you're kind of right there about the age thing. They've got to get rid of some of the older generation, but they can't go too young because they have got that Club World Cup. And I mean, obviously, they're not expecting to win it, but they are expected to, go that far and perhaps have a go, see if they can get a few points or something. So it is important that they get those kind of players in. And Kim Pan-gon now, after he did a reasonable job, and to be honest, he did a pretty decent job in winning them the title. It should be said, considering the position they were looking like they might be falling into. But now he's got a chance to shape his squad. And kind of just going back to the podcast with Ryan on Monday, that was something Monday, what was it? It was Tuesday? I can't remember what day of the week. It's all blurring into one, Paul. But we were also talking about his time over in Southeast Asia and the way that that's kind of allowed managers out there to have time without the media presence to kind of develop their own style. And he's come back and looking forward to kind of actually see what he can do this season with Ulsan. So exciting. And I think Lee Jin-hyun's a very smart move, as you said. We haven't got time to go through all the teams, and we're not going to go through all of them. We will be doing a couple of transfer pods, I'm sure, and we'll try to cover all the teams each week. So please don't write in if we've not covered your team today. But we are going to cover one last one, and this is mainly to just avoid the internet trolls, Paul. We're going to put Suwon Samsung in there because they've been busy. Suwon Samsung Bluewings, fed up with being in K-League 2. They've decided to help revoke the legend status of one FC Seoul striker.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble. But it's Iljutcenko, or as I've now seen it, Bluewchenko, as I've seen it. I'll tell you what, though. We all knew. It's been known. It's been reported. It's been in the rumours. It's been in those exclusive sort of articles that you see at this time of year, the as they call it, Dandok, I think it is. We knew that Iljutcenko was going to Suwon, but Suwon took an age to announce this signing, and then suddenly, when I'm guessing their social media team were back at work, they started by rolling out signings of some youth goalkeepers. I'm sorry, but nobody wants this. Get to Iljutcenko and Bruno Silva and Kim Ji-hyun. Get to the big names. We're all waiting for them. Because otherwise it's just if this was England or wherever, in the comments it would just be announce Iljutcenko, wouldn't it? On every post. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just announce it. Just please. And then finally, I think it was on Tuesday, they announced the signing of Iljutcenko, but not just him, Bruno Silva too, from Seoul Eland, who obviously scored in that second leg of the playoff against Jeonbuk, that wonderful header, had a good season. Well, a strong first half of the season, but, a good season. Kim Ji-hyun from Ulsan is a good signing. Who else have they got? Matthias Serapim, but obviously I don't know who he is. He's obviously someone who's new to the league. But can I just say, K-League 2 next year, it looks like at this point, will have the top two scorers from K-League 1 from last year. Because Magosa is still with Incheon, and it looks like he's going to stay. At least at this moment in time, he's with the team for pre-season. I think it's in Thailand. And then Iljutcenko's now with Suwon Bluewings. So the K-League 2 is going to be really interesting next season.
It really is.
Really interesting.
I think, and as you mentioned there, Bruno Silva, another player that's left Seoul Eland. So I think we're going to have to cover Incheon and all what's going on there, because they've got some interesting things going on, and we're going to have to cover Seoul Eland because we're going to have to, we've got to take them seriously now, Paul. They were a contender last season, and they've been kind of taken apart already a little bit in this window, but we need to be looking at who they've brought in. I think these are both teams we will be focusing on next week. But if our listeners want us to look at another team's transfers ahead of the schedule we have, then please do let us know, and also let us know if you've got any questions. You can find us all on social media at K-League United, and we haven't forgot your mailbag questions from the Christmas episode. The episode may not have seen the light of day due to terrible audio issues, as in there was no audio. But we'll make it up as you go. Make your own podcast. But we will be going through those mailbag questions. So please, if you want to add to that, write in, tweet us, Instagram us, do whatever, wherever you find us.
TikTokers, no, don't do that.
Don't do that. You won't find us there. You will find us somewhere else. Do people still use that? Either. I don't know. I'm well behind at the times. Anyway, all at K-League United. You can find more detailed information on all the transfers we've mentioned and more at www.kleagueunited.com, and you can support us over on patreon.com/KLeagueUnited. As for this very short episode, I've been Matthew Binns. He's been Paul Neat.
I've been Paul Neat, yeah.
Yeah, as you always are. And
for my sins, it seems. But yeah.
Thanks so much for listening. Goodbye. Stop recording.